This question to you.
So on the same sort of topic in terms of the teacher shortage crisis, pay alone is not going to solve the problem. What else do we need to be doing to retain and keep high quality teachers, and what can the superintendent do without legislative action?
Well, one of the most important things that I think we need to do in conversations that I've heard with teachers across this state is a top to bottom audit of Title 59 to cut the dead wood that we know that's in there. There are old programs that were passed 30, 40, 50 years ago that maybe were a good idea at the time, but are just no longer relevant to our educational system of the 21st century. And so cutting that red tape for teachers to allow them to actually do what they love to do and what they're best at, which is teaching students, is critically important. Another thing that I've heard in speaking with teachers around this state is that discipline is a critical issue. We have administrators who are afraid to have their teachers back when they send students down to the office for discipline, and we have got to get a hold of that. So as your superintendent, I want our administrators to know that when you have your teachers' backs, we will have your back at the state level. We also have to think about the mental health of both teachers and students. We know that that has suffered dramatically under COVID, and so I'm very proud of what Governor McMaster and the General Assembly are doing to help better fund mental health in our schools. We have a lot more work that needs to be done on that front, but that's certainly an important piece of recruiting and retaining teachers. The last thing I'll say is that just like this superintendent of education job, everything rises and falls on leadership. A great principal in the school building is the person who builds that culture that teachers either want to work in or leave. And so as state superintendent of education, I'm going to put a significant focus on high quality, research-driven professional development for our principals so that they can be the great leaders our teachers deserve.
So you have a response?
Yes, the two reasons that teachers leave are salary and working conditions. We've already talked about salary, but working conditions we really have to look at, and honestly that starts at the district level. And so, you know, there are things that as superintendent of education I can do and to relieve some of those hoops that teachers have to jump through by looking at, you know, what is in the best interest of students. There are lots of antiquated policies that we're still following. There are lots of policies that, again, may look good on paper, but do not make sense in the classroom that we have to research. I think looking at how we certify our teachers and the expectations that we expect of them. I think, you know, looking at all of those things, those working conditions. But honestly, when you talk about things like student discipline and that comes from how we measure school success through the school report card, which was created by the Education Oversight Committee. So part of all of the hoops that we have to jump through are because we have a lot of bureaucratic overhead. You know, the teachers and school districts have to answer to 3 different people. They have to answer to the Education Oversight Committee. They have to answer to the State Board of Education. They have to answer to the superintendent. And so we've got to really look at streamlining that. And lastly, we've got to ask teachers. We've got to bring that teacher voice up to the policy level and get their input in it, because teaching is different than it was when I first started 22 years ago.